What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Narik Chase channel. I'm your boy Narik Chase, and in this video we're reviewing Witchling. Now, Witchling is a 2006 paranormal romance written by Yasmine Galenorn. Serving as the first book in the Sisters of the Moon series, the story follows the half-human, half-fairy Diartigo sisters, Camille, Delilah, and Menolly, who are operatives of the Otherworld Intelligence Agency, and their efforts to stop a powerful demon named Shadowwing from unleashing hell on both Otherworld and Earth. Wow, this sounds like this story is going to be quite the roller coaster ride. But before we start the review, guys, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on the channel. Paranormal stories, especially paranormal romances, tend to have really the same formula as a lot of other paranormal romances. And admittedly, the story does little to differentiate itself from these formulas. However, that necessarily isn't a bad thing. In fact, I actually think it works to the benefit of this book. The story itself is alright, but it's certainly not breaking any new ground. It's a story that you've read many times before, and because the story isn't as well written as it could have been, the story isn't really interesting. Yes, experiencing a moment between the characters as they try to unravel this mystery and ultimately try to deal with the incredible threat is cool, but it doesn't feel like progression. There are some scenes that slow the story to a crawl, and then there are some that are action-packed, but ultimately feel meaningless. One of my favorite subplots in the story is Menolly's transformation into a vampire, how she's still getting used to it, how the emotional fallout she has to deal with, and how her sisters have to deal with it, and generally some of the stuff this affects their investigation, how it helps and hurts it. There are some interesting twists, and I personally don't think they were handled particularly well. One of them being a reveal of the main villain, Shadowwing. His name's revealed too early in the story, and the fact that he doesn't make an appearance hurts that angle. If they revealed him towards the end of the book, the mystery behind the strange events would have been more engaging as the sisters investigate. Think about Star Wars. You don't learn about the Emperor until The Empire Strikes Back. Even though the original film utilizes Darth Vader as the main antagonist, is actually done really cool seeing that there is somebody above him, which is introduced later on. Still, I did like the story, seeing the daily lives of these three women and the setup, but it felt like the story was lacking. For the most part, I like the characters. The Diartigo sisters are cool, likable characters, and they do have a believable relationship with each other. They have strengths and weaknesses that complement their personalities and abilities. However, I do find that they fit into those trope roles tighter than a sock over a watermelon. Honestly, if you've seen Powerpuff Girls or Charmed, you definitely know the dynamic here. The supporting cast is decent, but most fit into those traditional roles. Camille's in a love triangle with her demonic ex-boyfriend Trillian, who's the bad boy, and this charming fox demon named Mario. And of course, there's the rivalry. Man, this sounds really familiar. I've read this before. Several times, in fact, and I think that's coming to me. I think a good example is the rivalry between Jeb and Morpheus over Alice in the Splinter series. Another character is Chase Johnson, an agent of the Fae-Human CSI, who's the most underutilized character to the point that it's frustrating. If the writer had given Chase better attention, he could have been the next Eloise Pendergast. Sorry, but I've always had trouble saying that guy's name. Although he is one of my favorite characters, I get that he's the only human in the cast, but why when things happen, he's the first to be surprised, sickened, or hurt despite his extensive exposure to the supernatural and paranormal? It's like the writer made this agent, who's been on the beat for a while, physically, mentally, and emotionally inferior to the main three, just to make them seem strong. There are some other interesting side characters, but most of them are one-dimensional and seem like plot devices rather than believable characters. It seems like instead of the three investigating and figuring out what's going on, a new character pops up and gives them all the information they need. Yasmine Galenorn does a good job of setting up this interesting world and fleshing out the main characters. I like her vision, I like her setup, I like many of the ideas she's presented. I even like the dialogue. Books like this tend to have dialogue where the women characters are witty and sarcastic, And it works here for the most part. It helps make the conversations engaging. Sometimes the fun banter helps alleviate some of the tension that's going on. However, witty dialogue all the time can make characters seemingly view tense situations in the wrong way, or a sarcastic comment at the wrong moment during a tense moment will break that moment. And let me tell you guys, this book walks that line more than Johnny Cash. I do have an issue with Galenorn's description of the main three characters. It's the same issue I have with many anime and manga where siblings and just characters in general are drawn completely different for no reason. And it feels like the writer doesn't have the ability to produce traits that would make the character stand out against the other characters. Personally, I think it would do a lot better if you actually gave the characters standout personalities. I still don't understand what the fuck is going on with Yugi's hair. Each sister's different in ways that doesn't seem to actually matter. Delilah's a blonde, Melanie's redhead, Camille's a brunette. Why? Delilah's a shapeshifter, Melanie's a vampire, Camille's a witch. Why? Delilah's the sweet one, Melanie's the mean one, and Camille's the understanding one. I'm getting tired of asking why. They're sisters. Why couldn't these characters look similar, have similar abilities, but have more fleshed out personalities, more interesting traits, and more interesting lives? Shit, let those be the defining feature. Another problem I have with the sisters is that I don't believe in the slightest that they're agents. They don't act like agents, they don't move like agents, they're not trained like agents. One of the biggest elephants in the room is Camille's magic. Her magic is unpredictable, meaning that it's unreliable. Unreliable in a fight could get people killed. So what's her alternative? She has none. None of the sisters are trained to fight in situations where their powers don't work. You'd think they'd have a backup plan or have some magical weapon to fall back on. Camille seems like a really nice woman, and she seems like she's a very determined and courageous person. And I definitely would follow a person like that into battle. I'd follow. She might accidentally shoot me with her magic. Also, I get the romantic angle because this is a paranormal romance, so of course there's going to be romance. But I have the same thoughts about this book as I had for Bewitching the Enemy. I think Galenorn focuses way too much on the sexuality than the actual meat of the story. Every guy falls head over heels for Camille, and I get that. The Fae have this look about them that makes regular humans uber attracted to them. But I don't care enough to actually want to read that. It doesn't really do anything for the overall story. I do like that people cuss, and it feels more realistic than having people being PC all the time. There's sex in this book, and it's descriptive, but the wording is careful enough to not be over the top. In the end, Witchling is a good read for people that like paranormal romances. The story isn't as good as it could have been. It's mostly surrounding the writing, the poor characterization, the way the mystery is veiled, the focus of sexuality over quality, and there's definitely more than one plot hole. However, I can say that the story is actually interesting in some bits. The world building is actually pretty cool. I actually do like the dialogue and the main three characters, as well as some of the supporting characters. I thought actually interesting and cool characters. Characters I would like to continue the series on to see how they progress. So I'm giving Witchling 3 out of 5. I gotta say, I'm not a super fan of paranormal romances, but I wish some author would come in and shake up the genre. Anyways, guys, in the comment section below, let me know, what did you think about Witchling? Did you like the book? Did you not like the book? Who is your favorite character? Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel, and we'll see you guys next weekend.